Michael Bloomberg is continuing to brazenly bribe his way to relevance in this election. That's not hyperbolic. That's not even a little bit of a stretch. That's exactly what's happening. Look at what he's now doing. This is according to Open Secrets, who track money in politics. He keeps donating to the respective state parties. So he gave $10,000 to the Oklahoma Democratic Party, $2,500 to Texas, $10,000 to Montana, $10,000 to New Mexico, $10,000 to Rhode Island, $5,000 to New Hampshire, Tennessee, $7,500, Arkansas, $7,500. The list goes on and on there. What he's doing is he's trying to, one by one, pick off and buy off the state parties in all the respective states. This is how he's effectively bought rules changes. So we discussed it, on the show a couple weeks ago, but Michael Bloomberg gave $300,000 to the DNC, and then, lo and behold, look at that, the DNC changes the rules to get into the debate. There used to be an individual donor threshold. I believe it was about 225,000 individual donors. The only way you can get on the debate stage, one of the requirements is that you have more than 225,000 individual donors. Why? Because grassroots enthusiasm is a good indicator of seriousness as a candidate. Well, for Michael Bloomberg, because he donated $300,000, they go, oh, look, we changed the rules. Would you look at that? And you don't need to hit any number of individual donors. So go ahead, Mike, now you're on the stage. An underreported fact is that not only did he give $300,000 to the DNC, he also gave $800,000 to the Democratic Grassroots Victory Fund, which is the collective group of the state parties. So he gave $800,000 plus $300,000 plus now, depending on which state and what the rules are, anywhere from $2,500 to $10,000 to each individual state on its own. This is extra. Do you see what's happening here? Do you see why this is unacceptable? Do you see how disgusting this system is? This isn't democracy. If these exact same set of facts were happening in Russia and, or fill in the blank with any, official enemy state to the United States, do you realize how we would cover it? There wouldn't be a question. They wouldn't debate whether or not this man is an oligarch. He's obviously an oligarch. He went from 0% in the polls to 10%. Some polls he's at 13%. He bought his way to third place in the national polls. Why? How? By doing what he's doing here, buying the state parties, but also carpet bombing the airwaves. To this point, he spent over $351 million on ads. I can't watch TV without a Michael Bloomberg ad coming on. And by the way, he's violating election law in those ads, but it's not going to be enforced because we have hilariously non-enforced laws in this country when it comes to campaign finance. But he's running ads where it looks like Obama endorsed him. The whole ad is like Obama-centered, and, it's him saying, oh, Mike's great. This was back when he was mayor of New York, and he was doing an event with him, and it's him shaking his hand, and, all that stuff. Incredibly misleading, incredibly disingenuous. This man does not care. He doesn't care about ethics. He doesn't care about morality. Wait until I get to the stories later about some of the positions that he's taken over the years. Mind-boggling. I mean, what you already know is bad enough. Like, blocking a minimum wage increase in New York City. By the way, strike one, you're out, skis. I'm done with you. Blocking a minimum wage increase. Who does that? Somebody who doesn't care about low-wage workers. That's who does that. A spying program on Muslims in New York City, which got a grand total of 0 leads. He was spying on innocent people and taking away their constitutional rights, banning big gulps in a flat-out authoritarian move. I don't like big soda, so I'm going to ban them. Guys, this is what we already know about him. Wait until I get to the stories you don't know about him. Oh, boy. However bad you think he is, worse. He's worse than that. But you shouldn't be surprised, because what kind of a person decides, I'm going to jump into the race, I'm going to buy everything in sight, and I'm going to try to just corrupt my way into the White House? This guy would get slaughtered by Donald Trump, man. He would get obliterated by Donald Trump. Donald Trump would make Michael Bloomberg look silly. Silly. You can't buy your way that far, son. You might get, far enough in this race, but at some point you're going to hit a roadblock, and the chickens are going to come home to roost, because every single step he's making is massively unethical. So this is where we're at in the race now, man. We're at a place where a billionaire has bought the Democratic Party, corrupted the rules, trying to rig his way to the White House, and By the way, the media, this is the most important point. This story that I'm giving you right now, you shouldn't have to come to YouTube and come to Secular Talk to hear this story. You should hear this on mainstream media. Weird, why are you not hearing it on mainstream media? Well, like we discussed previously, all that money that's going towards ads, who's the beneficiary of that? When Michael Bloomberg spends $351 million in ads, where does that money go? It goes to the networks. It goes to the networks. So they're the beneficiary of Michael Bloomberg running. They want Michael Bloomberg to keep running. He's at worst, he's buying their silence. At best, he's buying people who will just defend him and agree with him on air. But when you're, like, let's say you're a local news outlet. This dude comes in and buys up a couple $1 million in ads in your market. All of a sudden, you're flush with cash. You can hire more people. You make more money. Everybody's happy. So he comes in and props up whole news marketplaces. What do you think is going to happen? You think that, they're going to be open to strong criticism of him on the air, the bosses? No, they want that money to keep flowing in. So they'll rationalize it themselves. No, we're still doing our job, but you know what? We have a couple candidates where certain criticisms are out of bounds. Don't talk about the integrity of the process being corrupted. Don't talk about any of that stuff. Don't talk about the harshest criticisms. It's what's best for business. And we'll make up for it by being tougher on other candidates. They'll rationalize it to themselves, but effectively, he's buying support from the media. You don't throw $351 million around and not make friends. And this was the other story recently. Michael Bloomberg has been buying influencers, buying Instagram folks and frickin' YouTubers and whatnot. This is what he's doing. He's trying to, basically buy memes and an online presence to ride that wave into the White House. This is embarrassing. Our system is an embarrassment right now. The fact that this guy bought 10 to 13% in the polls, he bought his way into third place, and now we're having a real conversation about him being a real candidate is pathetic. It's pathetic, man. Don't fall for the nonsense. This guy will change nothing. This guy backed George W. Bush in 2004. This guy was a Republican most of his adult life. And I don't believe his transition. That's the most important point. If you make the transition and you're genuine, and I can tell, okay. But he became a Democrat. This is just an attempt to ride his way into power. This guy's ideological concerns, he's against left-wing goals, against left-wing policies. But this shows you the rank hypocrisy of the establishment Democrats, because they're more likely to line up behind Bloomberg than they are to line up behind Bernie Sanders. So a guy who's basically running on the continuation of FDR's New Deal legacy, a guy who's a social democrat, they're gonna snub him, and they're gonna run into the arms of a rank corporatist, a right-wing Democrat. This is terrible to watch, man. Do not let it happen. We better get Bernie Sanders elected, because he's the real deal, and Michael Bloomberg is nothing but an oligarch.